All right, and welcome back to Photo Tips. And today I have a picture from my latest shoot. In fact, if you want to see more pictures from it, you can click up there if you're on YouTube, and you'll be able to see the video there from that. Or if you're on Facebook, just scroll down the page. And I think it's going to require a little bit of work. When it was taken, there were a couple little issues that we're going to address here today. So we've got Nala with us, and make sure as well, depending on what platform you're on, make sure to like the video, subscribe, follow. It really helps me out and makes this thing a big deal. So let me go ahead and bring you into my computer here. We're working with Adobe Camera Raw, which has the same editing engine as Adobe Lightroom. So the controls here should be pretty similar if you're used to Lightroom. But gosh, look at this. It is underexposed, unfortunately. Now you could argue up here by the sky, probably the camera did a decent job. This was taken with an iPhone, so I had trouble seeing what was going on, but I like the composition, but not so much the exposure. So what are we going to do? Well, there's a lot going on in an underexposure here, and first thing, obvious thing you'd want to do is go over to your exposure tab, and we'll go in and just, start pulling it up here. That would be the logical thing to do. But you can see, so we can start to get some detail down here in the bottom, but then we're starting to blow out the top. And it's kind of this, even though it's now better exposed, it's kind of this flat look that, that's not really ideal. So let's go ahead and do a few things. I'm going to start, these controls down here affect the entire image. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and do my highlights. And we'll go ahead and start backing down a little bit, which helps up here, brings some of those, so it's not going to be blowing out those whites. So that helps us there. But again, down here, we're still pretty, we still need to have some work that needs to be done. So I think it may have been set up from last time I did this, but I'll go ahead and reset it just to show you here. I'm probably not going to fool too much around with the exposure. I think it's about right where we need to. But I think I want to go ahead and we'll increase the clarity of the brush, and you know what, I'm probably maybe a little bit of contrast, and we'll see where that takes us. Now let me see if I can get my brush going. There it is, and you can see it's a pretty big brush, and that dotted line there is the feather around it, so it's a pretty decent amount. So I'm going to go in here and we're just going to go ahead and paint over the image like so, and let's see where this gets us here. Okay, so I'm starting to like where that's going. I think I may increase that clarity a little bit more. What I really want to do is make this image pop, because when we underexpose, it just kind of dulled everything. The color, the contrast, not just the exposure there. So I think I'm going to go down there. And the one thing I will alert you to, again, this was shot on an iPhone, although it was shot in RAW. And quick tip, if you do have an iPhone, spend a few extra dollars and download an app from the App Store that will take RAW pictures, because the latest iPhones do support RAW, but not out of the box. You do have to download a separate app. So it's really worth doing that if you don't have that app already. But, again, so we have the DNG RAW file, but, it's still not as good as a digital SLR. So there's probably a little bit of noise down here. But with modern noise reduction, we can take care of that. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm just looking here at 100%. Not sure if you can see it on your screen, but I do see a little bit of noise right there. So I'm going to go ahead and slide my noise reduction tab about right, there or so. I think that's pretty good. Let me go ahead and zoom back out to 100%. Now, I'm reasonably happy with the exposure here, but I want to do a few more tweaks. I really want more color. This was taken near the end of winter, so we do have some limitations there, but there's still more that we could do. So I think I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to start with my temperature, and I've gone back. I'm going to go back to the image as a whole here. I don't want to edit the adjustment brush, that layer down there. I want to edit the whole image at this point. So I'm going to go up to my temperature, and I'm going to start sliding that to the right or so. Just a little bit there, not too much. You can see it starts to make a little bit of a difference. Makes it a little bit more warmer, a little bit less cool. But I don't want to neglect the blues, because that is a big part of this image. So I'm going to go over to my Hue, Saturation, and Luminance tab. And it's already selected saturation for me. I think I'll start right there. And I'm going to go ahead and say, blue, I need more of you. I think that is pretty important there. So I think that's a pretty good saturation for the blues there. But you notice one thing here, it's kind of got this kind of a yellowish, kind of greenish cast to it. I can change the way the blues look by going over to my hue here. So I'll go ahead and do that. If you go down to blue, you can see I can slide the slider to the left here, which makes it kind of awkward. Ooh, that's not what I want. But if I start sliding it a little bit to the right here, then we can go ahead and get a little bit more purple, a little bit more of a deep blue to it. It just requires a little bit hue. If you start sliding those hue sliders around, it can really mess things up, but just subtle adjustments do really make a big deal. So I'm not even sure if I want to go that much. Let's see. Just a little bit there. I'm trying to think if I make go over luminance as well. This is the lightness of the individual colors. So example, we'll edit the blues. I can make it lighter, like so. Whoops, lighter like that. Or I can make it darker. So, you know what? I'm thinking I might make it ever so slightly lighter. I'm just trying to think if I should even increase that saturation a little bit more there. Okay, and then, you know, I do want to see what other colors I can bring out. Again, it's a little bit dull as far as the winter colors, but let's see what I can do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my yellows right there. I'm going to grab my oranges. Do I dare even grab the greens there? Let's see. Oh, we're getting somewhere there. Okay. So I think we're doing pretty well. Remember where we started. We've got a long way in just a period of a few minutes here. So I think one other thing I might want to do I dare grab my vibrant? So let's go down here. And first thing I'm going to do before I do that, was move the cat, because she has taken an interest in the laptop. And remember in past videos, you don't want your cat on your laptop. Important tip there. But let's get us back here. I want to go down here to vibrance and saturation. Again, we're editing the entire image. Saturation is an older tool, which is a little bit less sophisticated, and when you increase it, it makes the colors look a little bit unnatural, even though it is a stronger effect. So vibrance is really a better tool to use in most circumstances. So I'll go down to vibrance and say, ooh, do I dare? Let's go ahead and see if we'd increase there. You know what? That ain't too shabby. You know, I think I like the way it increased in here. I think I may have done the blues too much. Let's go back to our hue, saturation, and luminance, and we'll pull off on those blues ever so slightly there. Yeah, about right there. So, okay. And then just a couple of final touches, and I think we're done here. You know, it was really easy to do this. I think I might go ahead and increase my contrast a little bit. I think as well, I may bring out some detail there in the shadows. Let's see. Just bear with me here as I play around. I'm just watching this area down here. You know, we might, I'm not going to do it here, but you might be able to do an adjustment brush and kind of brighten that up. But, you know, that's a matter of opinion. I don't think we're going to do that in this case. So I think we're pretty happy with that. How about you? Let's go ahead and open the image in Photoshop, and I'll do a quick border around it, and we'll be able to show you kind of how it would look on your wall. And I do think I have Photoshop open if it lets me here. There we go. And I'll go ahead and go over to image and canvas size, and I've already got my canvas set to white there. So I'll go ahead and add a couple inches around. Let's take a look here at this image and what we're getting. So as you can see right off the bat, look at the way those colors popped. We even increased a little bit of the greens, the oranges, the yellows. A little bit of it there was. We took advantage of it, you know, try to see what we can do. We've made it really, really pop right now. So I think that is a great way to increase the quality of that underexposed image. I think it works out pretty well. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and save this out. We'll do a quick comparison. You know I like to do this here. Go ahead and do save as, and we will save out a JPEG. That will work for our purposes today versus the after. Go ahead and save that. And let's go to my Adobe Bridge, and I'll pull them up here side by side. Let's see where we were. Okay, so here's the before, and again, dull. You know, you could argue, oh, maybe it kind of exposed well for the clouds. It's just a bad, dull image. So let's get out of that, and let's go ahead and see what we really want here. This is our final wonderful image. Again, even though it's winter, even though it was underexposed, we brought that color out. Made a super big difference. So as you can see, it doesn't take that much, but it is a little bit more involved when you have an underexposed image than just increasing the exposure. There's more consequences of that underexposure that we need to correct, and also some aesthetic things we probably want to take care of depending on your preference. So I do hope you enjoyed our quick little photo tips today on underexposure. Please make sure that you like the video, subscribe, follow, helps us out. And remember, we're pretty much here every week unless there's some sort of interruption we'll let you know about. But on behalf of Nala and myself here, do appreciate you watching Photo Tips, and you have a good one. Bye-bye. We're going to go. You want more rubbing? You want more rubbing? Come and treat. Okay. Still. You still need some? Okay, come on, take a seat. There you go. Look at that.